So, Tim Heaney, first of all, how the hell are you? How are you holding up? Because it's been kind of a rocky few days in the wrestling world.
You don't think how much it would affect you as a watcher, but I mean, when this is when reality comes into play, and you know, um, just go Roman Reigns, get it done, kick its ass, do it. That's all.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. And when all this happened, I immediately started getting texts and things. I got you, I got Sealy, I got everyone. I'm like, what's going on? What's going on? I was like, I don't know. I don't know. I'm with you guys. And you're searching on the internet and you're looking for leaks because typically this is leaked everywhere, this kind of stuff. I mean, it's very rare that you get something held like this, especially an organization this big that nobody leaked it, which leads me to believe this happened very recently. And I mean, like, maybe 24, 48 hours recently.
Yeah, there were whispers over the weekend that he might have an injury because he was kind of removed from all the house shows. It was kind of like initial, like, all right, there might be something wrong with Roman Reigns, but of course, this is something that I'm glad they kept quiet and let him announce. Of course, I did not want this to be something leaked, something broken by somebody else. I think he had every right to talk about this himself. I'm very glad we got it from his mouth, and it's good to see that that they kept the secret under wraps, even if people maybe had a gag order if they knew. Who knows? But
yeah. Look, even if it is that, a good job by them keeping it secret, because that's something that's very surprising, even with all that you're able to do. So I would say this: when I'm seeing Roman Reigns come down the aisle in the street clothes, and then he starts talking about, you're always so conditioned to think everything is a work. So you're kind of wondering where it's going. And then obviously it turned very quickly. And when he opened up about his leukemia, that's not something that I knew. And it's funny because then you start to see the groundswell of the emotion of the crowd change over. And you start to see and hear the crowd change from their normal, spoiled booing of Roman Reigns for their own selfish, stupid reasons to all of a sudden this appreciation level. And I was very annoyed. And annoyed is what came to mind, because it's like, basically, so this guy had to come out here, this guy who works his ass off every single house show, every single TV taping, every single pay-per-view, who eats, sleeps, and breathes this business, who wants to be the guy who is accepting the responsibility and apparently is a great guy to work with across the board. Because there's not one person I've ever heard before this ever say anything bad about Roman Reigns. Not one. Have you, Tim? Have you ever heard anyone say anything bad about him?
Well, maybe, of course, CM Punk, but he says something bad about people he
CM
likes.
Punk,
that's what I'm saying. He says, whatever. But
he hates everything, so you can't really worry about that.
Exactly.
But outside of that, I've never heard one bad word in any locker room situation or anything with him, ever.
And then you see all the stories coming out now after the fact. I mean, the one that got me was Aleister Black. That was really cool to see that. I don't know if you saw that tweet.
I didn't, but I saw the New Japan one, and I saw Kenny Omega's, and I saw the other people in the organization, obviously some great ones there. The Usos obviously did some great stuff on SmackDown with some tributes to him in the middle of the match, and some of the pictures of them with kids are fantastic. But I was annoyed at the crowd because I'm thinking to myself, it's got to be a life and death situation for you to give this guy a little respect. And I'm not saying you all got to love Roman Reigns, and I'm not saying you can't boo who you want to boo and cheer who you want to cheer. But I continuously, we've talked about this for a year on this show. We're coming up on a year of doing this show.
Yep.
We've talked about this time and time again. At a certain point, like, what does the guy have to do for you to go, all right, you know what? Maybe he's not the groundswell, the guy that we've made the people's champion, and maybe the people are getting a little spoiled. Ever since Stone Cold Steve Austin, Tim, it's like they feel like we're the king. Well, that's what I mean. It was him, and then it was CM Punk, and then it was Daniel Bryan. It's like, well, we're the kingmakers, not you. Well, I don't know if that's the case all the time.
Well, it shouldn't be a reason to just thunderously boo a guy. We like you said, we've never been the boo Roman blah blah blah. Even though we might have misgivings with how the company books him, you don't. Booing the guy just made no sense. And yeah, I'm with you. It's kind of upsetting in the grand scheme that it took something like that to help you respect what he does. And the way the blindly booing stuff was just never was justified in my opinion.
And then, of course, then you get the thank you, Roman, and everybody's really upset. And they should be, because they're all human beings. And I think then that's when all the facade comes out and all that stuff. But, I give him a lot of credit because he seems to really genuinely still be out there and be grateful and everything. But he's taking a lot of crap from this same fan base. And I think a lot of it, especially in the last year, has not been as deserved. Everybody loved him when he's part of the Shield. Everybody wants to push him, and then you push him, and it's like, wait, you're pushing him now? You're pushing him down our throats, and they've always got the same 5 moves. I'm like, well, so what? So does half a dozen. So does Finn Balor at this point of his career. So does, a lot of people. So does The Undertaker, and y'all love him still. It felt very disingenuous, and I was frustrated as a fan of the sports entertainment or sports in general of wrestling. More than anything else. And I was just kind of I was like, is this what it has to take for you to respect this guy? And then when he comes back, you and I know, God willing he does, Tim. He's going to be the greatest babyface of all time.
Right. Of course.
The same fan base that was giving him crap is now going to be like, no, we beat cancer. We love him now.
Yeah, really? It's just a blind eye to the past a little bit. And even now when they say, oh, get well, they always have to throw in the never liked you, never liked the way you were booked, but get well. Just freaking say get well, man. Stop inserting your own crap into that.
Yeah, the caveat of I'm not a big fan, but I hope you don't die. I mean, what the hell? What is your problem, bro?
Sociopaths, man. Seriously.
I don't understand that at all. I mean, there's part of me that goes, well, at least you're sticking to it. Like, at leleast you're
right. There's something to be said for commitment.
Yeah, and it's just, and I'm fine with that. But I just think at a certain point you have to separate your fandom from all the other and.
Oh my God!
Obviously, this was dropped on a crowd that wasn't prepared for it either. And you could see the looks on people's faces as they continue to go through it. And it was obviously a huge deal, which actually brings me to my next point too, is you take away the guy who's supposed to be the face, who you finally transitioned into this role, and you reunited the Shield again after the Ambrose injury. Every time they try to put the Shield back together, something else goes haywire.
Yeah.
It seems like there's some sort of jinx surrounding it. But now, no Roman Reigns, no Bray Wyatt on TV. No Sami Zayn, no Kevin Owens. Is Raw right now as a brand in dire straits, Tim?
They're losing a little bit of the character, I think. And obviously we'll get to the big events on Raw that might help with that. But it's, the brass ring situation has to come up now. Who's gonna step up and take things? I think, we see Drew McIntyre going to be a big part of the main event scene for a little while. So that's
deserved.
As deserved. And it's not the way Braun Strowman probably wanted to be champion, but he's going to probably be your next champion. So,
well, that's the whole thing is it can't be Brock Lesnar. This is not going to happen. So Braun, I'm sure, does not want to be champ this way. He's going to be. Is this going to affect him in the eyes now of every? Here you go. Here's the perfect example, right?
Great promo though from him. I'll say that
it was. Yeah. It was a great promo from him, and I think he is going to step up and do a good job. But here you go. Here's the groundswell of the guy everybody wants, right? He's the people's choice. And now he's going to get it basically in a crappy way. Is that going to taint it for this run?
I don't think so. I don't think so. Well, the fact that he says, I'll give Roman the first shot, that was a really cool touch. And I think that really kind of makes the whole thing at least combine the optimism for the future and preserve his character a little bit. I think we saw Braun really just starkly turn face anyway with that. So. And
McIntyre is definitely the guy that I want to see put into that position. And
be a hell of a feud.
Yeah. And he also, and because it's legitimate, you can get behind that feud. You can get behind Brock Lesnar and Braun Strowman. It's believable. McIntyre and him is believable. I think Rollins eventually would be believable also, but that's a whole other can of worms to get into now.
Yeah, right.
But McIntyre also probably they didn't expect this to all happen this way. And I feel like sometimes they do their best work when things are in chaos. Yep. I feel like the WWE works better in chaos than it does in calm.
I agree.
And it shows in that night where you had the Dean Ambrose heel, and we'll go right to it because it's a good
urgency. That's what it is.
Right. It's the urgency of, oh crap, what do we do now? And you get Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins that night winning the tag championships. Mm-hmm. And so you think it's this glorious, feel-good moment, and then they turned it, and I thought it was great.
Awesome.
I think it was absolutely. Some people say, why now? Why now? Because that reaction. Look on the faces. Did you pause when you?
That one woman's going to be like a meme soon.
Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this now? Why are you doing this tonight? Tonight of all nights?
Of all nights, why?
Oh, why?
It's like JR. Why?
Why, my God? Why
Dean Ambrose?
I don't know. That's why.
They're getting worked. It's great.
Because you weren't expecting it. And for once, we get something that we were expecting, but not when we expected it or when we least expected it. Mm-hmm. And that's what makes the show great again. And I thought that this was brilliant. I thought, once again, to me, and Paul Heyman was in the building. Mm-hmm. So every time Paul Heyman's in the building, I always feel like, well, this kind of reeks of Paul Heyman when these kind of good things happen.
Absolutely.
And he came out and cut a hell of a promo, too.
Oh, my God.
Talk about trying to string a horrible situation into actual work promo that needs to happen.
Yeah, and you know, we talked about the connection between him and Roman's family and stuff. It's a big deal to him. So you could tell he was just fighting back, crying the whole time. I mean, it's Paul Heyman can be the most, you know, obviously one of the most eloquent people in WWE, and he makes any situation work. And he really did. He balanced the company and he balanced with his own raw feelings coming out. It's you know, it's typical Paul Heyman brilliance, I'll say.
Yeah, I absolutely think so. And one of the most difficult spots I've ever seen anybody put in, because now you got to take this guy who's now out because he's dealing with this illness. And again, we here at the show want nothing but health for Roman Reigns. And if he never comes back and wrestles again, just go live your life and, you know, good, be a dad to your kids and a husband and all that stuff. And that's what life's about. And this, you know, I know he's got this dream, but if he gets to a point where he could just be healthy, that's the goal.
He's had a hell of a run already, even if he can't. So
yeah, I mean, he could easily transition into films and TV stuff tomorrow. I mean, he's very marketable. You know, he could play one of the Dothraki in one of the Game of Thrones prequels.
Khal Drogo's nephew or something.
100%. I mean, how could he not? I mean, look at the guy. He absolutely, you know, he fits right into that groove there, those kind of roles, and he'd be great. And he could do the physical stuff and fight still and not have to do the schedule of WWE, which, you know, people have to realize there's a really good chance that he's not going, even if he beats this, him coming back is difficult.
Yeah.
It's really
all the best for Roman, though, seriously. I mean,
it is.
Go get it. Kick ass.
But really, a tough night on the Raw brand. A tough